It's Laura Eubanks of Design for Serenity with your succulent tip of the day. And before I get started, I just want to say that we are in the very beginning of September, which is probably the hottest month here in San Diego, California. I have just come back from 2.5 weeks of R&R up at our Northern California property, and I am so sorry. I had forgotten that I told you I was going to give you an update on the trees. Well, so to give you that update, the dogwood is doing really great.
Who planted that one?
Greg planted that one, and it's doing really well. We surrounded it with some plastic fencing. The deer are not bothering it, nor have they bothered it at all. But unfortunately, the rainbow beech didn't survive, and it was my stupidity that caused its death, not the wild vermin. I had Greg turn off a station of irrigation that controlled an area around the corner where we didn't currently have any vegetation due to the fact that the deers had eaten everything. And unfortunately, it also fed the line that was supposed to water the beach. So it was toast. It was crunchy when we got there. I was so sick about it. But at any rate, that's not very exciting news, but live and learn, right? Yeah. Also, I had a fantastic virtual consultation today with Dan and Ann from Fountain Valley. So enjoyed meeting with them and talking with them about their project. And as luck would have it, the timing is going to work out where myself and Team DFS will be able to go up at the first of the year and knock out a really spectacular front yard installation for them. So thanks, guys. Okay, now I was inspired today as I came out here. Having been gone for 2.5 weeks, there is no end to succulent tips of the day. But something that I thought was really timely that you could all benefit from is to talk about these Mexican snowballs, these echeveria elegans. Not so elegant right now, are they? Look how desiccated and burnt these guys are. When I planted these in early spring, they were as happy as clams in this spot in the garden. I love them. These are plants that I got from my son's garden up in Claremont, California. I don't have them here anywhere else, and I wanted to plant them where I could enjoy them and see them. But I just can't. I mean, they look so bad. So what I'm going to do is move them to another area of the garden for the rest of the summer where they're going to get more shade. And I want to encourage all of you to remember that just because you've planted something in a spot does not mean that you can't dig it up and move it somewhere else. Now this plant, Mexican Snowball, Echeveria elegans, is a native of Mexico, and it's really drought tolerant and very, very susceptible to rot. So you don't want to overwater, well, you don't want to overwater any succulent, but particularly this one is really sensitive. So by placing it in a shadier location, I'm hoping that it'll come out of dormancy, open up a little bit, and of course all of this, yucky burnt stuff will deciduate as new growth appears. Now one of the reasons why succulents close up like this in the summer is to protect all of that beautiful new baby growth. It's so tender, and the plant takes the older leaves, closes them in around it to protect it from the very elements that I have subjected it to out here in the sun. So you notice that I'm pulling these plants out by the root. I'm not going to cut the roots. That just seems absolutely too cruel. So I'm going to go ahead and plant them, roots and all, in a shadier spot. And if you notice that little adorable, tight, compact Kalanchoe Lucier over there, it was the fantastic variety and has done spectacular. So, it just goes to show you that different plants like different exposures. So I found an area here under this pergola where I like to sit. So again, I don't want to not see these. I could find some deeply shady spot in the garden and bury them away, but then I would never see or enjoy them. So I chose this spot because I will still get to see them every day. And this is, the reason why I like to work with cuttings. I am digging to China. You have to work so hard when you plant the roots. You have to dig so deep. I'm just exhausted. Okay, this is slightly a tiny little bit damp. The soil around the roots of the plants is much more wet. So obviously I hit that with the hose fairly recently. So I'm really glad that this area is nice and dry. Remember, when your plants are dormant, meaning they've closed up, they're not blooming, they're not throwing off any new growth, the leaves are just, a little soft, that is not the time to apply water or fertilizer. You want to wait until your plants are actively growing before you apply fertilizer, and also want to wait until the soil and the roots are completely dry in between waterings, particularly in the summer months. Okay, so I'm just going to make a bouquet like this. Is there another one? Oh, there's a little baby. Aw, so cute. Okay, so I have this cute little bouquet. I'm going to drop it in the hole here. And then I'm just going to backfill with this dry soil mixed in with rocks and gravel. And we'll follow up and check in on these plants from time to time so you can see how they're doing. You'll probably notice that they're getting light on them right now. It is late in the afternoon, so the sun is not nearly as hot as it is earlier in the day, and this will be in total shade about 20, well, not total shade, filtered light, about 20 hours a day. So I think these little elegans are going to do really, really well here. While I've got you too, another fun thing that I wanted to show you right here. Remember the aloe that got eaten by the gopher? And I replanted another aloe and it got eaten by the gopher. So I threw this little echeveria in the hole to see what would happen. And look, it's just fine. I don't know what it is, but the gopher was not at all interested in the echeveria and has never bothered it. So I think there was just something attractive about that aloe root that really inspired that gopher to wreak havoc in this area. But this has been in here for about 3 or 4 weeks, and it's thrown off some roots. I mean, it's in there. So I don't know what to say, guys, about that. Apparently gophers don't like echeveria, maybe, I don't know, but in my garden at least, that was a win for me, and I couldn't be more excited. So go out into your gardens, find a plant that's struggling and be a hero. Save that plant, dig it up gently out of the ground and move it to shade, just like if you were exposed to full sun and somebody moved your hot butt into shade, how much you would appreciate that. Your plants will too. This has been Laura Eubanks of Design for Serenity with your succulent tip of the day. Bye, guys.